once upon a time, long, long ago, in a poor village nestled between emerald hills and a sparkling sea in Vietnam, there lived a humble farmer and his devoted wife. Their days were filled with the simple joys of tending their small farm, and their nights were enriched by the quiet comfort of each other's company. But there was an ache in their hearts, a longing for a child that echoed through their days and lingered in their dreams. Year after year, they prayed for a child, but their prayers seemed to vanish into the vastness of the heavens unanswered. One scorching summer's day, the wife decided to venture into the nearby forest to gather firewood. The sun beat down mercilessly, and her back ached with each step. As she neared the heart of the forest, the trees grew thicker and the air hung heavy with humidity. Just when her hope began to dwindle, she spotted a clearing bathed in a shaft of sunlight. In the center sat a coconut shell filled with fresh, clear water. Overwhelmed with gratitude, she drank deeply from it, and as the cool water quenched her thirst, she felt a surge of hope rekindle within her. Could this be a blessing? Little did she know that this simple act would change their lives forever. Months passed, and one starlit night, their humble abode echoed with the cries of a newborn. Joy and disbelief painted on the faces of the parents as they held their precious gift, but their elation soon turned to shock and confusion. The baby, instead of looking like any ordinary infant, had no arms or legs. His tiny body was perfectly formed except for his limbs. Deformity twisted their dream of parenthood into a nightmare. The villagers, too, were baffled. Whispers spread like wildfire. "This child is cursed. He will never be of use." The weight of their words crushed the parents, but the mother, driven by the purest form of love, refused to give in to despair. She named him Sọ coconut shell, a name that symbolized both his unique form and the miracle of his existence. As Sọ grew older, his appearance continued to be a source of ridicule and fear. Yet, beneath his unusual exterior, he possessed a sharp mind and an unwavering spirit. His eyes, though deep-set, shone with intelligence, and his heart, though innocent, was heavy with the burden of understanding the world's cruelty. One day, as he watched the village children playing, a yearning for acceptance welled up within him. Turning to his mother, he said, "Please, mother, let me go to the fields and herd buffaloes for the wealthy old Mr. Ho. I know I look different, but I am strong and determined. I promise you I won't be a burden." His mother, torn between love and worry, couldn't bear to see the pain in her son's eyes. Finally, she relented. "All right, my son, but please be careful." With a basket of food and a newfound determination, Sọ set off for Mr. Ho's house. The journey, though short, was filled with anxious moments. What would Mr. Ho say? Would the other children accept him? As he approached the house, the sounds of laughter and the distant mooing of buffaloes reached his ears. Taking a deep breath, he knocked on the door. When Mr. Ho saw Sọ, his initial reaction was one of disbelief. However, Sọ, unafraid, spoke with a confidence that surprised the old man. "Mr. Ho, I'm here to ask for a chance. Let me herd your buffaloes. I promise I will take good care of them." Seeing the fire of determination in the boy's eyes, Mr. Ho finally agreed. "All right, boy, you can start today." And so, Sọ began his new task. To everyone's astonishment, including his own, he didn't use his hands or feet to herd the buffaloes. Instead, he whistled and made strange sounds, and the buffaloes obeyed as if bewitched. They grew healthier and plumper under his care. Soon, Mr. Ho noticed the remarkable transformation and couldn't help but marvel at the abilities of the coconut shell boy. Now, Mr. Ho had 3 daughters. The eldest and the second, beautiful and vain, scoffed at Sọ. They jeered at his appearance, calling him names and making fun of his way of herding the buffaloes. But the youngest daughter, although pretty, possessed a heart of gold. Unlike her sisters, she saw beyond Swa's shell. She noticed his intelligence in those deep-set eyes and the kindness in his unusual smile. One day, she found herself sitting with Sọ while he ate his lunch. She asked him about his life, about his dreams, and he shared his story with her, his voice soft yet determined. They talked for hours, and by the end of it, they had forged a bond that went beyond their differences. It was during one of these conversations that Sọ revealed his biggest secret. "I may look like this during the day, but by night," he said. Taking off his coconut shell, he transformed into a handsome young man. The sight left the youngest daughter in awe. But Swdwa, afraid that she might reject him for who he was, quickly put on his shell again. The youngest daughter, however, was not one to be deterred. She had fallen for Swdwa's noble spirit and his pure heart, and nothing, not even his physical form, could change that. Day after day, she visited him, bringing him news from the village and listening to his stories. Their friendship deepened, nurtured by honesty, trust, and a shared understanding that transcended their physical differences. But as the sun began its slow descent in the sky, casting long shadows on the ground, a new challenge arose. Swdwa had been summoned by the king to serve as an envoy on an important mission. Before leaving, he gifted his friend with a small knife, 2 chicken eggs and a stone, saying, "Please keep these safe. They may be of use someday." With a heavy heart, he bid farewell, promising to return as soon as possible. The moment Swdwa disappeared from view, his 2 elder stepsisters approached the youngest, their eyes gleaming with malice. "Oh, so you have a boyfriend, little sister. Too bad he's nothing but a crippled shell of a human being." The youngest daughter ignored them, lost in thought. Then she remembered Swdwa's parting words. Could her sisters be in danger? And how could she help them if they needed it? Days turned into weeks, and still there was no sign of Swdwa's return. The youngest daughter began to worry. Had he met with an accident? Was he hurt? Unable to bear the uncertainty any longer, she decided to visit Mr. Ho and inquire about Swdwa's well-being. As she walked towards the house, her sisters emerged from behind a tree, their faces twisted with envy. "Where are you going?" they demanded. Startled, the youngest daughter could only answer truthfully, "To ask about Swdwa. I'm worried about him." The elder sisters sneered, knowing full well that Swdwa was nothing but a burden to his family. They decided to capitalize on the youngest daughter's concern and devised a wicked plan. "Why don't we check on him together?" one of them suggested, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "We can all go to the village and see if anyone has seen him." The youngest daughter, unaware of their sinister intentions, readily agreed. Little did she know that this innocent act of sisterly bonding was nothing but a trap. They reached the riverbank, and the sisters said they needed to freshen up. The youngest daughter agreed to wait for them on the boat, while they took a quick dip. But once she was seated, they pushed her into the water. "You can go ahead and wait for that crippled boyfriend of yours," one of them shouted, as the youngest daughter struggled to keep her head above the water. In her moment of distress, she remembered Swdwa's parting gift. She took the stone from her pocket and threw it into the sea. The stone, blessed by Swdwa's powers, immediately grew, transforming into a small island to save her from drowning. She took the eggs and cracked them. 2 fierce roosters appeared, chasing away her would-be murderers. Finally, she pulled out the knife. As if sensing her danger, the knife glowed with a bright light, splitting the boat into pieces and allowing her to escape her treacherous sisters. When Swdwa returned and heard of his wife's ordeal, he was filled with admiration and pride. Her bravery had not gone unnoticed. In fact, the entire village now looked at her with newfound respect and admiration. Even the elder sisters, ashamed and disgraced, were shunned by society. From that day on, Swdwa and his wife lived happily, their love story becoming a beacon of hope and strength for the entire village. Their tale reminds us that true love conquers all, and that sometimes appearances can be deceiving. For Swdwa was more than just a coconut shell boy. He was a symbol of inner strength, courage, and the transformative power of love.